here at the bottom left-hand corner of Antigua Shipyard. We have our red Protoss player from the Team Prime. It's Creator. His opponent here in the upper right-hand corner, down 0-2 at the moment. Needing to find some big comeback here. Let's see if this is the map for him. It's Western Wolf Sting, our pink Terran.
You know, Kevin, I said in game number 2 I wanted to see him play a macro-oriented game, and for the most part, he did pretty well. But this game, I think, would really lead to him a little bit better. I mean, it's pretty relatively easy for all races to grab the third, of course, on this map. And it really opens up Sting to be able to do a lot of drops. I mean, you look at your main in the top left corner of it, there's a lot of nice spots to drop off when a third does go up as well. And being able to exploit the immobility of course, Protoss, of course, you can do a lot of drops. But it's something that we noticed in number 1, whenever drops did become a factor. Creator has packs of units just ready to go, sitting in place, and it's been like that every game that I've seen from him. Even in the GSL, I was watching a couple of VODs, and he's just on top of having units in place to be able to respond accordingly. So I want Sting to at least attempt it, but I'm trying to figure out a way. I'm trying to rack my brain for some way to Sting to straight up beat out Creator. I think it's just play a macro game and just keep up with him in engineering base.
I wonder how that's going to do, because Creator Prime's play has always been about, okay, if you can't kill me before 15 minutes, I'm going to be well on the way to 3-3. His build is not necessarily like, I'm going to kill you at a specified point in time. It's that you can't do any damage to me. I can do everything that I want to do, and I'll be so far ahead of you that eventually I'm just going to win this war of attrition. And looks like Sting is going to take a command center first afterwards, but that's why he's always been good about keeping those like 3 Stalkers and a Zealot here, 3 Stalkers and a Zealot here, making sure he watches over at his natural and his third at the same time, so that eventually he can gather all his forces together at once and go make a big push.
Okay, well, we have Creator coming in with a probe. Last game, remember, he harassed the SCV insanely. I think you counted out 12 seconds of or 11 seconds, I'm sorry, of delay in that command center. This time, Sting responds immediately. He brings down SCVs. He's not playing around. He's not feeling that jokester anyway, any form at all. So it looks like that probe will, of course, be forced to retreat eventually here, and we actually have a probe going straight down to the natural as well here for Creator. So similar openings in game number 1. Even the double Rex follow-up from Sting.
Yep, he totally pulled off of gas once again, immediately threw down the Nexus right afterwards. And it was actually, even though Sting was trying to get away with very minimal defense last time, he wanted to be able to get down there with just one SCV, drive that away, keep the other one held, and give himself that little bit of an economic advantage there. But it didn't work. And actually him pulling 2 SCVs this time is going to net him a better economy than last game when he only tried to run one in at a time a couple of different times.
Yeah, that's true. And for the most part, I mean, who could blame Sting? I mean, most Pro players aren't going to have the micro to keep up with constant harassment on a command center when you have one chasing around. Usually you just give up and say, whatever, I'm going to the main, and maybe look around, see if there's any gas or anything. But Sting, of course, responding now to the series and not the actual game itself. Looking into the main here for Creators, he's actually got a lot of Chrono Boost saved up here, so looks like he may be wanting to get a little aggressive on this Warp Gate technology.
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the aggressive 3-gate has been pretty powerful here at times, but it looks like he then expends it on probes afterwards, whether that's just a sham and he's going to start turning his second Nexus Chrono Boost into some Warp Gate fuel. We'll find out here in just a second.
Yeah,
this SCV, very low in health.
Yeah, I think I think he just used that Chrono Boost to get the SCV to know. Okay, he's using his Chrono Boost on top of his Nexus here. I really feel like something's going to be coming in terms of aggression. Yeah, there it is. A couple of Stalkers have been popped up. There is 2, 3 Stalker aggression that you can do. I've been seeing a lot of Protoss players do that, and yeah, it's starting to move out. The idea behind it is if your opponent doesn't throw a bunker up, you can actually do a lot of damage in terms of killing SCVs. You don't really try to deal with the Marines. You put your Zealot on top of the Marine, and you take your Stalker and go straight for SCVs. And so I'm kind of looking for Creator to be doing that as he's now moving out across the middle of the map. But the thing is, Sting is so good at keeping up Marine production. That's what he does. There's tons of Marines out in the middle of the field, so it makes it a little bit harder to actually do this kind of strategy.
Okay, well, we'll see if Sting's able to pick up on it early enough. He could actually successfully flank those forces here in just a bit if they decide to push up a little bit too far. But for now, it looks like he's going to be okay. So afterwards, Sting, he's just going for 3 barracks out of this. In game number 1, of course, we had the proxy barracks play. In game number 2, we had 4 barracks, heavy Marine aggression that tried to hit. Didn't really work, and now we see something a little bit more conventional. 3 barracks down on 2 bases. Now, whether he's going to go the upgrade route or the quick medevac route, that remains to be seen, of course, but he is already investing in his 3rd gas.
Yeah, I really wanted to move up to that factory very quickly and get a starport out with that 3rd gas. So we'll keep an eye on Sting and see what he plans to go for. If anything, he might just be going for the medevac timing. But remember, it's always been about 10:30, 10:45 because he's been a little bit later. It was 11:30 in the first game. At this point, if he's going the way he's meant to be, or the way it goes out, he could be hitting at about 9:30, 10 minutes, which would be a little bit quicker and might throw off Creator a tad bit if he does the same build. And so far, it looks like it. We have the 3 gates, we have the Robo already on the way, 3rd and 4th assimilator being accrued up. I feel like Sting's going to go for the quicker medevac drop here and potentially do some decent damage. Although he did just start +1, so that might throw that out the window.
You know, this is a very interesting game thus far, though, because Creator's the kind of player who kind of goes by the, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of strategy, but he is changing things up here. Maybe this is just because of the map, or maybe because he's got a 2-game lead, and he could start experimenting around, trying to do more things to keep his opponent off his guard, but Creator is switching it up, going for that Forge and Twilight Council at the same time.
Yeah, I want to see what his next building is be putting down here, because again, it's only one forge here, so he wants to move up in tech very, very quickly. It seems like a Templar Archives is a possibility. There's always a Dark Shrine possibility. That would be a tad bit late, but it might just work because it's a late DT. Oh, there we go. +1 Carapace. Or not +1 Carapace. God, it's a Zerg.
Silly Zerg.
+1 armor. Geez, I should have been playing earlier.
Yes, indeed. +1 armor is on the way. With that blink, that's going to make for some very hardy blink stalkers here. And then, of course, the cliff lines are very abusable on Antigua Shipyard, so that's kind of cool stuff. I really want to know what he's going to completely follow this up with, though. I mean, so often you see the +1 armor with a single Forge and Twilight Council into quick Templar Archives or something like that, and try and hit with the charge lot Storm kind of push, but that's not going to be the case here. This is a little more creative strategy up Creator's sleeve.
Well, he's getting an Immortal out, so it looks like he's expecting some kind of aggression coming from Sting. That's a little bit Marauder heavy here, and from what he actually scouted with that Observer, he saw covers the tech lag on a couple of those racks here, so he knows Marauders are on their way, so a nice choice there of getting that Immortal out. And it looks like the aggression is now going to start moving across the middle of the map here for Sting outside of the natural. And now, has Creator actually seen this? I think his Observer actually missed it just a tad bit. No, he saw. He's grouping up already. So Creator should have some decent force fields here. As long as he lands some pretty decent ones, he should be able to handle this. And here we go. Force fields do land. Actually, a little bit too many Marines for my taste here, but it looks like he will do some damage.
Yeah, it looks like all the Zealots died up at the front, but that's enough to eventually push this army back, so Sting is going to have to retreat. And I'm so happy to say, of course, that we have a third command center about halfway done for Sting, so not 2 base all in for Sting this go-around.
Yeah, I like him going there prodding. It looks like he might be doing some aggression here, but Creator's been doing a good job of having an Observer just floating around the natural the third. Unfortunately, with a snipe in game number 2, so he has a full read of exactly what Sting is going for. And he's actually going to get a little bit aggressive here, which I like this choice. There isn't a lot of Marines on the field, actually, because he just sniped a lot of them, so he can get into between that natural and third, and maybe even force a cancel on this third. Actually, no, we won't want to force it because it's going to finish. He might be able to kill it off, but Sting with no medevacs quite yet on the field. 2 are on the way. Is very low on. It's gonna be very low on HP.
It's going to be difficult because, you know, even Creator's aggressive strategies tend to take a little bit longer than most people's. He sits back, waits for his relevant upgrades. At this point, it's going to be Charge Lot +2 armor, possibly Storm right afterwards. Templar Archives going to finish in about 25 seconds or so. But Sting, otherwise pretty normal builds. 5 barracks, single starport. His upgrades are chugging along. Things are looking a lot more stable for him. I definitely like Sting's position a lot more in this game than I have in the past, too.
Certainly, I like it. He's even following up with the double engineering bay here, so he can be able to follow up in the upgrades. And there's only the 1 upgrade for Creator as well. He's got that +2. I think he got a +1 attack, right? Let me go and check that out real quick. Yeah, +1 attack already. So, +1.
No, just
armor.
+1 carapace.
Those fingerprints, man, I'm telling you. So he's going to be actually pretty low on upgrades if we go another 3 to 4 minutes, because he's going to have +2 too, and he'll only have 2 and potentially maybe a 2-1 if he gets a +1 going after this. So Sonic Storm now on the way. Charge Lot is about to finish as well, and we do have a little bit of aggression on top of this high ground here on the side.
Yeah, cool stuff by Sting as he gathers up all his forces. He could get 2 more medevacs. Indeed, they are gathering up to the front and start ferrying his units into the main. Of course, this is going to force the focal point of this engagement here. But, of course, most of these units are melee units, so he actually has to willingly split his forces in order to appropriately engage this. And Sting, in fact, is doing some pretty good damage to the forces from the low ground there. Kills a couple of the Stalkers. Of course, he did lose all of his units up at the top. Has to be very careful with those medevacs and actually backs away as the rest of the units have started to flank.
Oh, sick flank here from Creator. He's going to get up on there, but he's got to be a little careful here. Once he's Zealots are extinguished, Sting can follow up with getting those Immortals, and they're actually, well, they actually lose value as you get into the game, but you don't want to lose them for nothing.
Right.
Immortal does fall down as well, and Archon actually taking a decent amount of damage, but that Archon is so darn tanky. Stalker showing up as well. Sting doing a decent job of trying to focus the Stalkers, and it looks like he will be forced to retreat. Creator holding once again another push from Sting.
All right, very cool stuff. Gets away there. And Sting ends up making it out with, what, 5 Marauders. He's certainly going to have to...
like 20 HP.
Yeah, he's going to have to, like, meet them with medevacs over here and do some sort of, like, an escape mission off to the side. They do actually end up cleaning up a pylon that was sitting here, but bye-bye. Sorry, Marauders, you're all going to die.
Good news though, for Sting, third has finished up, +2/2 has been queued up. Still only one forge here for Creator. He's actually started +3, going really heavy on the Zealots here. Zealots, of course, when they do get on top of the Marine Marauders, do a lot of DPS. They put out a lot of damage just naturally here. So if you actually tank them up, give them a nice amount of armor, they can just keep moving their way forward. And that's a nice choice there from Creator. I like that, with him having the charge life. Third Nexus finally on the way here for Creator, so he's moving up as well in economy. So Sting gonna try and push out once again. Let's see if he can make something happen this time.
The crimp in the plan, though, of course, from Sting is going to be that Ghost Academy, and just adding those in. He's got 3 already on the way. Those EMPs, of course, are going to rack charge lots up at the front. Plus, of course, if you actually get Ghosts in it, I mean, this is kind of undervalued, I think, but if you get enough Ghosts, as some players do, they have a lot of damage output against light units. They can actually just chew through Zealots if they're decently protected enough.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Kevin. So with the 2/2 about to finish up, and of course he's going to move forward and getting the Ghost out, you know, suddenly Sting's getting a little bit on the scary side. He's going for Archons, which Archons is nice. Naturally, when I watch Sting play, his Ghosts usually group up a lot, actually. So that splash damage from those Archons could be a decent possibility for him here. Just looking at the Units tab, I'm trying to get a count of how many Zealots he has available to him. He looks like he had a huge ball there.
There you go.
32 Zealots. Actually, 73 SCVs to 58. Geez, the economy might be getting a little bit too far here for Sting.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. But you know, with the 4th and 5th command centers that are coming up, he's now made more command centers in this game than he's made all series.
Good job, Sting.
Yes, well done. But he's certainly playing towards the late game. He's going to get that economy nice and up. He can start bringing small packs, 5 SCVs with him to continue to repair up units as he moves along, things like that. And then afterwards, he doesn't have to replace them. He's got enough orbital commands. He can just drop down mules.
So, Sting is actually moving forward here. Rove has just been started up. There is no Colossus on the field whatsoever for Creator. He does have, of course, the +3 upgrades. He's finally starting +1, it looks like. But I think Sting in an engagement, of course, with kiting, can actually do a good amount of damage here. Going straight on in here. Kills the Archons right away. He hit the good EMP, and he's going to start kiting.
Yeah, but he didn't actually affect any of the charge lots off to the side. And he decimated the Archons. He decimated the Archons, and he actually does clean up most of the Templar, too. So Creator's going to try and chase this, and Sting's actually being moved back.
That is scary force right there. Tanky, yet lots of damage that they get right up to you. And they're going to keep moving forward, and it looks like with another reinforcement, Sting will be able to hold off Creator, but that was painful. And now suddenly Colossus are going to be on the field. Suddenly area effect becomes so much stronger here for Creator, and that's what you need against this Bioforce that you're seeing from Sting. We're getting to the late game, and after 15 minutes, as you mentioned, Creator doesn't lose often. He lost against Yun in GSL, but...
well, that's true. You know, and this is a little bit different scenario, of course.
Definitely.
We're not saying the normal Creator. This isn't the I already have 3/3 upgrades and I've got all my tech switches available and I could threaten the 4th base kind of Creator. This is the, well, I tried something a little bit different, and I'm a little bit slower on my upgrades, because Sting is actually in an advantageous position as far as those go right now, starting at 3, hopefully +3 armor at the same time.
Yeah, and looking at his resources, he has... Oh, no, he doesn't have enough minerals to quite do it quite yet. But he's going to go ahead and move forward once again. He does scan, and those units are actually clumped up. He gets an EMP. I think he actually whipped that one. Going to go ahead and engage right away. The Zealots are melting very quickly. And with the storm there, I think Sting's going to have to retreat. He's going to go ahead and heal up once again. A Zealot weapon, though, is about to be in, and Creator should be able to hold this fine. Yeah, there we go.
Right. But, of course, we're moving to a very markedly different unit composition now. Multiple Colossi coming in, and that was valuable information for Sting. He actually picks off a couple of Templar, melts all the Zealots up at the front, doesn't lose too much himself. You can see he's still at about a 30 supply advantage overall, but now he's got the information he needs. So he goes a little bit heavier on the bio, adds on the 2nd starport, and he's going to prepare himself for Colossi.
I'm actually really impressed with the macro from both players. Until now, I actually haven't seen Sting really above 500 whatsoever, and the same can be said for Creator. They've really been on top of just keeping up production. That's always it's beautiful to see, I think, is what I'm trying to go for here. 3 Marines will scout a pylon here. Zealots will be warped in right away, and they will be dispatched very, very quickly. But he's actually setting up a flank from the side. But the thing is, observers are everywhere. Sting is...
It's Creator.
It's being seen every time he tries to make a move on the map.
Okay, so Sting is definitely going to need those Vikings here pretty soon. He's already got, what, just 2 up, actually. He's not been producing anything from his starports. There we go, finally 3 at a time being produced. Now, he does have a massive quantity of ghosts on the field, 3 more being added to the 10 that are already on the map, and a couple of those EMPs do hit a few units up at the front. In fact, all of the sentries don't have any energy left on them, but he's just not prepared for the Colossi.
Oh my
gosh. He finally picks off one of them, but he just didn't have the Viking count there to deal with them.
So many Zealots in the way, and that just allowed the Colossi Colossi to destroy everything that laid on the earth there. And 3 Colossi will just, look at this, things melt whenever Colossi are in the engagement. And they have these upgrades, the 2-3 I believe right now. And,
I believe so.
Oh, yeah, it's about to finish up.
Yeah,
they have 1-3 in that engagement. But still, it's free firing from Colossi. They're effectively doing free damage and not being contended with. And then we'll melt that army, and Sting just kind of sat there at the bottom of a ramp, which is like the worst position you're in whenever you're going for a Bioforce trying to engage a Protoss.
Of course, Sting is going to have to defend this eventually. It looks like he's probably going to go when he has 6 Vikings up, because then he'll have the Bioforces to be able to re-engage this. Nice job picking off a couple of shots from the high ground there, but of course this is a planetary fortress. It can't lift up like an orbital command, so he has to sit there and protect it for a while, because if that base dies, then Creator's in a ridiculous position. He's got his 4th base now up and running. Of course, he'll want to add on some gas to that eventually, but things are looking a lot better for Creator than they were just a few minutes ago.
Well, +3 armor, it looks like it's about 20 to 30 seconds to finish up. I don't want Sting to engage until that is finished. He needs that upgrade. It's very, very valuable to him. Going to make it a little bit easier to, 1, take a couple of shots from the Colossi, while kiting back, and 2, it's just going to be able to let him sustain those Zealots a little bit more, too. But that 4th has finished up. There goes the gas that you just mentioned. Going to deal with the factory. It's been floating around for 22 minutes. That's always a fun kill. And it looks like Creator's actually going to give up the middle of the map. I think he's trying to bait Sting into actually trying to get into an engagement, though.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Yeah, that factory actually was on fire and down to just 10 hit points before, but an SCV barely made its way over to repair it up.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. Oh, but this poor factory's not going to survive.
Yeah, no SCV will be getting over that space area. So Observer sees everything. He sees the whole entire army. He sees the Viking count as well. +3 attack is on the way for Creator. Would like to see him chrono boosting that out. It doesn't look like he's chrono boosting it. And Sting's going to go ahead and put some missile turrets in the middle of the map. What he's trying to do is just trying to zone out observers. He's tired of them. He's tired of wasting scans on them. They've been a pain in the rear basically the whole entire game. So finally he's going to deal with them by getting these missile turrets up. And that'll make it a little bit easier for him as well to establish the middle of the map.
I'm a little bit surprised, too, that he has, oh, finally, okay, as I'm about to say it, he starts getting +1 weapons for his shifts, but it's been a while in coming. Usually you'll see Terran players, okay, I'm feeling pretty confident, they haven't switched into Colossi yet, but I'm still going to get this, because I know eventually, if this game tracks on long enough, it's going to be a reality that I'll need Vikings eventually for later Colossus production. And Sting never decided to invest into it, and as a result, his opponent now has 3-3 Colossi, or well, soon is going to have 3-3 Colossi, I guess I should say, is that +3 weapons is on the way, but these Vikings are still going to be relatively low damage.
So I think Creator is very confident where he's at. He's going to go ahead and move into a Dark Shrine here. He's going to start harassing on different points of the map whenever he has free supply, but he just wants Sting to move into him. Well, as I say that, he started to move up with Stalkers being aggressive with a couple of blinks trying to pick up some ghosts here. Will the ghost putting the EMP is down? Does not look like it. Creator going to go ahead and move straight on in. The force for Sting just looks very meager here. Storm does go down, and they're going to walk through it a little bit there, but not that much damage overall.
I've got to say, Creator's positioning has not been great during the beginning of that engagement, though, because he actually lost 3 of his 4 Colossi immediately, and he's going to lose the 4th, too, as it just runs up and doesn't do any damage. Storm drops on top of the Ghost. 1 more dies, but, 4 Ghosts for basically the vast majority of Creator's army is going to be a very nice trade for Sting.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I thought Creator was going to play passive, because he had a really good concave, actually, on the bottom set of the 4th base that we normally take. He had a really good concave, and he can actually move that concave side to side using stop position. But he decided to go ahead and get aggressive. He saw some ghosts that were overextended, and for some reason he was like, oh, I can kill him now. And he was like, oh, no, I can't. And then he just took so much damage, and now he has actually no Colossi on the field. One's about to pop very soon. Does scout the space top left corner, will force it to lift. And I feel like now he's just trying to go for a starve game here, because he decided that, I don't know, he doesn't have enough Colossi on the field, so he just wants to kind of prevent any bases from mining.
Now, of course, we're moving towards that very, very, very late game here, especially on Antigua Shipyard. It's so difficult for players to be able to hold this in the middle of the map that we've seen more players do what Creator's been doing. Essentially just cut it in half. Take the bases that are around the ridge, and we'll probably see him take that one towards the top right here in just a bit. In any case, looks like a couple of Dark Templars starting to swing their way through to do some damage. And how much missile turret coverage is there? Almost none. And even though this base isn't mining a lot, the gas income is still not as important for Sting anymore, but this is still going to do some significant damage.
Well, it looks like Sting's actually moving in the middle of the map here. He's actually getting ready for an engagement. Vikings headed first. They sniped the Colossus on the ground right away there.
Wow.
And actually, I'm not getting a little scared for Creator.
I think Creator was a little more worried about his harassment that he was doing. He was worried about chasing this this command center down and about these DTs here in the top corner. But Sting may just be able to push in for the win here in just a second.
Oh, he's going to move down to this bottom right base. That base is exposed completely. It will be going down. There are suckers on the high ground, and the whole army's actually in the middle of the map here. I think Creator might be wanting to move for a base trade here, or at least kill off that planetary. He doesn't really care about the third, the natural, and the main, because there's no minerals there. But we're going to have the Marines Runners going for the base, and it looks like effectively we have a base trade on our hands.
Yeah, but 2 Nexuses for the base here in the middle of the map is going to favor Sting quite a bit. So
Sting expanded the top left corner too.
Yes, he did.
Storm a little unnecessary, but will get the job done.
Yeah.
And Zealot's going to go surround the planetary fortress, and it does go down. So 2 Nexi down, one planetary has been killed off in the middle of the map here. And Sting, again, like I said, trying to get that expansion in the top left corner, but it was scattered as well. So we still have a situation where an engagement will need to happen no matter what.
That's right. And Sting is actually way down on workers right now, in fact, by a huge margin. But, of course, if he can find another base and get saturated after the engagement, he's going to have enough orbital commands that he can just dump mules onto it, and he's going to be fine because of his gas bank. But he still needs to force that engagement very soon. Looks like he's going to do it now. One Colossus is going to fall very quickly. The Archon actually dishing out some pretty good splash damage, and most of the ghosts up at the front took some significant fire, but it was still just too much for Creator to bear, and he's being pushed back.
Landing the EMPs. Those EMPs are actually really good. The Archons are really weak at the moment, and he's going to go ahead and stem forward, pushing right away. He's going to engage. Zealot charging forward, and again, Immortal's late game really are just not good. There's not enough DPS to come out of them. They appear first, and the engagement is still happening. It's very close, it actually looks like. Stalker's engaging right away, but the medevacs are too much. Somehow, Sting, even though I thought he was behind so entire game, just comes back like a madman here, going straight for the Nexus here as well as the probes. And granted, there's still mining going on for Creator, so he can get a few units out. But that's it. Once these probes go down, he has nothing on the field.
He has a roving pack of units that he's sending around. He actually did kill a couple of command centers. I apologize. Here in the top right, these DTs have actually done work. Okay, one gets lifted up.
He's going to lift it, but still, is that an orbital in the top left corner? Can we check on that really quick before
we see here?
Down? Yes, this is an orbital. He's going to start beating it down, but if he gets those to lift up, DT's reign supreme. There's no Raven.
Oh, and there, no, he's actually just going to kill it. So the orbital commands are going to have to sit down here at the bottom right. So Creator's not out of this yet. Now, we do actually have EMPs available on these ghosts.
Yes.
So they still can reveal the cloaked units, which is what he's doing there.
Wow. This is actually really, really intense, man. So going to go ahead and have these Marauders and deal whatever they can, kill off any probes, kill off any tags that's possible. The Dark Shrine is very important here for Sting.
Yes.
But he does land his 2 orbitals in the top right corner, and I don't think Creator knows about it. He's actually scouring around the map, looking for where these orbitals flew off to. I don't think he noticed that they flew down in the bottom right. And there they are. This is it. We're gonna go ahead and have the medevacs floating everywhere. This is just cleanup time right now until that orbitals are found.
Right. I think this is actually GG. There's no way that Creator can engage this army here straight up. Not with those ghosts there that are just constantly reaccumulating energy. Templar Archives is now dead, so he can't actually produce anything that would feed back those either.
So go for it.
Yeah.
What a man. Oh no, he's like nope. Not feeling that.
Fighting to the last man.
No, Archon is being morphed in or warped in. And
no more workers now for Creator.
Yeah, it's 7 workers for Sting. Yeah, I think you're correct. I think this is going to be GG. And unless, like, Sting just stands there, unless the Archons, like, do a huge splash first, and then, of course, the Zealots are just charging up and beating on them. There's no micro whatsoever. But this is all Sting should be worried about right here is these units on this high ramp.
Yeah, and it looks like the Observer gets picked off. EMPs hit basically everything. There's GG.
Wow, good job, Sting, man. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's on the board. And you know what? He won a game where you had 5 or 6 command centers, too. It wasn't that 2-base all-in play that we were seeing before.
I want to bet someone $100 in this room that he's going to go for 11 racks or something next game, like something super aggressive, like Proxy Marauder. He's like, yeah, I just won this macro game. All right, let's go back to normal style. But well played by Sting. We had the double engineering bay. Creator actually never moved up to another forge whatsoever.